Here's a story you might not hear much about, but it says a lot about the state of the WNBA and the dynamics within its teams. Just recently, Temi Fagbenle, a talented forward and seasoned international player, was released by the Indiana Fever. On paper, it might look like just another roster change, but the reasons behind her departure and the treatment she endured paint a much more complicated picture. Temi always had a strong bond with Caitlin Clark during her time with the team, but rumors have long swirled about NaLyssa Smith's alleged mistreatment of both players. Could this be the real reason behind Temi's departure? To understand the full story, we need to dig deeper into how it all unfolded. Let's start with her history. Temi Fagbenle isn't just any player. Born in Baltimore, raised in the UK, and a Harvard graduate, she's had a storied career both on and off the court. Internationally, she's represented Great Britain with distinction, even leading her national team to historic finishes in European competition. In the WNBA, she's been a reliable presence, known for her versatility, defense, and ability to contribute in key moments. She's played for the Minnesota Lynx in the past, where she won a championship in 2017 and brought that same winning mentality to the Fever. So why was she released? Officially, the team cited roster constraints and the need to focus on rebuilding around younger talent. The Fever have been in a long, frustrating rebuild phase, and Fagbenle's veteran status likely made her a target. But there's more to it. According to reports, her relationship with the team had been strained for months, partly because of tensions with younger star NaLyssa Smith. Now, NaLyssa Smith is one of the Fever's rising stars. Drafted second overall in 2022, she has quickly become a key player for the franchise. But according to insiders, Smith didn't exactly make Fagbenle's time on the team easy. Sources close to the team have alleged instances where Smith undermined Fagbenle during practices, criticized her play openly, and even made dismissive comments about her veteran leadership. While Smith's star power has certainly helped the Fever on the court, it's clear her influence off the court may have contributed to Fagbenle's release. Fagbenle, for her part, has remained professional throughout the situation. In her limited statements, she's expressed gratitude for her time with the Fever and her teammates, but those who followed her career know that she's never been one to cause drama or create division. The fact that she found herself pushed out of the team says more about the Fever's internal dynamics than it does about her abilities or attitude. The bigger question here is whether the Fever made the right call. By letting go of a veteran like Fagbenle, they're doubling down on their youth movement. But at what cost? Veteran players like her bring leadership, stability, and experience, qualities that are often undervalued in a league like the WNBA, which already struggles with retaining its stars and fostering strong team cultures. As for Fagbenle's future, it's uncertain. She has plenty of options overseas, where she's already proven herself as a top player in Europe, and there's no doubt she'll continue to thrive. But her exit from the Fever is a stark reminder of the challenges faced by veteran players in the WNBA, especially when team dynamics and internal politics come into play. In the end, the release of Temi Fagbenle isn't just about roster changes. It's a story about a league still figuring out how to balance youth and experience, talent and leadership. And for Fagbenle, it's a chapter that closes with more questions than answers. Did you catch the latest? Ben Shapiro just took down Washington Mystics owner Sheila Johnson over her ridiculous comments about Caitlin Clark.
So one of the bizarre controversies of the last week is Caitlin Clark, who is the WNBA's only nameable star. Here, for example, is WNBA team owner Sheila Johnson. Here she is, ripping Caitlin Clark and the fan base for liking Caitlin Clark, saying it's only because Caitlin Clark is white.
In what might as well be an Olympic gold medal for bad takes, Sheila's claiming that Clark didn't deserve Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year title, basically suggesting that everyone in the WNBA should be recognized. except for Caitlin Clark.
Why couldn't they have put the whole WNBA on that cover and said the WNBA is the league of the year because of all the talent that we have? Because when you just keep singling out one player, it creates hard feelings. And so now you're starting to hear stories of racism within the WNBA, and I don't want to hear that. We have got to operate and become stronger as a league and respect everybody that's playing.
You heard that right. This is the ultimate everybody gets a trophy mentality, but cranked up to the max. Shapiro wasted no time shredding Johnson's argument, using his signature rapid-fire style to highlight just how ridiculous her position really is.
You're not putting the entire WNBA on the cover because not everybody can fit and nobody knows who any of those people are. By the way, 31% apparently of the entire Washington Mystics ticket sales this year came in 2 games. I will give you a guess as to which player was featured in those 2 games.
Exactly. Not everyone can fit inside the spotlight, and definitely not the entire WNBA. As for this talk of upliftment, let's not forget that 31% of the Washington Mystics' annual revenue has come from games featuring Caitlin Clark and her team. Are we seriously supposed to pretend Caitlin Clark isn't single-handedly bringing fresh energy to a league that's been struggling to stay relevant?
Look, I'm going to be completely honest about this. I thought what Wizards owner Sheila Johnson said about Caitlin Clark came off as racist. Sheila Johnson is the black billionaire owner of the NHL's Washington Capitals, the NBA's Washington Wizards, and the WNBA's Washington Mystics. Johnson said she did not agree with Time magazine making Caitlin Clark the first ever WNBA player to be Athlete of the Year.
Sheila's claim that Caitlin Clark's success somehow undermines the rest of the league definitely carries a whiff of something darker. It's hard to ignore how that perspective reeks of racism, whether she intended it or not.
And with putting Caitlin Clark on the cover. Johnson said the entire WNBA should have been chosen as the League of the Year and that numerous stars should have been put on the cover. She said the WNBA has a long legacy of black stars and that, and I quote, "Something clicked with the WNBA last year because of the draft. It's not just Caitlin Clark, it's Reese," as in, of course, Chicago's Angel Reese.
Seriously? Angel Reese doesn't even come close to Caitlin Clark, both in skill and popularity. So why is Sheila so eager to downplay Clark's accomplishments? It's almost like she's trying to diminish something that clearly stands out on its own.
Johnson said, and I quote, "There's so much talent out there that's unrecognized, and I don't think we can pin it on just one player. When you single out one, it creates hard feelings," end of quote. Johnson said, "What's been happening to black players on social media," and I quote, "has got to stop," in that, and I quote again, "this division of racism is going to tear us apart," end quote.
Exactly. Are we seriously going to stop celebrating a player just because others are feeling threatened or jealous? That doesn't sit right, does it? This is straight up unfair treatment. Sheila should be recognizing greatness, not trying to undermine it.
Johnson is saying to me, the majority of WNBA players are black and have always been black, that basketball belongs more to black players than to white, and that it's not healthy for the league to have a white player featured as Athlete of the Year on the cover of Time. Now, I'm pretty sure if WNBA MVP Asia Wilson had made the cover of Time as Athlete of the Year, Johnson wouldn't have had any problem with that. Just not the white girl.
Absolutely. What Sheila's implying is that we should start picking and choosing who gets praise based on the color of their skin, rather than their talent or achievements. It's absurd on so many levels, and frankly, it's a huge disservice to the game and the players who deserve recognition.
But this person put this on as a quote to this video. Sheila Johnson's worth $850 million, and she doesn't put a penny back into the neighborhood she comes from. Very interesting. She doesn't even come back to her high school to show little black girls that they can become her. My little cousins go to the same high school. They don't even know she exists. Very interesting indeed.
Did you catch that? It turns out Sheila might be guilty of the very thing she's accusing Caitlin Clark of. That's right, she supposedly doesn't do charity or encourage the black kids in her community to become billionaires like herself. Talk about hypocrisy at its finest, folks.
Well, the league has always been woke, has always had an agenda. The league and the sports media, the establishment sports media that is, and their surrogates. Always, and they pride themselves on that.
It's become pretty clear that the WNBA has a lot of politics playing out behind the scenes. Could this be what's been holding the league back all these years? It's hard not to wonder if these power struggles and biases are part of the reason the league hasn't reached the level of recognition and success it deserves.
But since Caitlin Clark stepped into the waters with the Time magazine interview, it's almost like you're gonna see more people, more comments, more demands. You're gonna see it's gonna be less and less about basketball, what you want to see, and it's gonna be a whole lot of this stuff, because it's like she ripped off another layer of the onion, and this one is a big one. And so now people feel like they can just go all in.
Exactly. Sheila's opposition to Caitlin Clark seems rooted in the fact that, like many so-called woke figures, she's recognized that Clark isn't playing by the usual political playbook. Instead of bending to certain narratives or pushing an agenda, Clark is simply focused on earning her success through talent. And that's something that doesn't sit well with people who expect athletes to follow their scripted roles.
But this, of course, is the Mystics owner that said that Caitlin Clark should give up her Time magazine award and give it to the entire WNBA. Of course, that has now become a running joke, and the mother of all community checks came down here and nailed her. 31% of Mystics' total home attendance for the 2024 season came from the 2 games versus Caitlin Clark and the Fever.
Newsflash, Sheila, sports thrive on competition, not on the equality of outcome. Claiming that Caitlin Clark doesn't deserve to be singled out is like saying LeBron James should share his accolades with the benchwarmers just because of team effort. That's not how greatness works. Individual brilliance deserves recognition, and Clark has earned every bit of it.
It's important that we say, you know what? You want to go all in? You want to go in, people with a lot of nonsense? Then guess what? We're going to go in too, and we're going to expose the nonsense.
Exactly. A lot of these racist attitudes flourish when there's no pushback or challenge. That's why speaking out isn't just an option, it's a responsibility. If we stay silent, we're allowing these harmful views to persist unchecked. It's crucial to stand up and call out hypocrisy when we see it.
What it is. A lot of times, like you, we're just like, we just want to let's just play basketball. But then when they start saying nonsense, like when the owner of a WNBA team, Sheila Johnson, Washington Mystics, when she says some of the stuff like she said that people are talking about today, it's like, okay, you want to play hardball? Then let's play.
Absolutely. Caitlin Clark isn't just a great player. She's a mythical juggernaut and a cultural icon. She's rewriting the rules of the game, and her numbers prove it. She's not just good, she's the best. And anyone who tries to deny that is ignoring the undeniable facts.
Most of the fans of the basketball player are fans of the sport of basketball. But yeah, if you guys thought that people weren't going to care, 1.7 million views.
Have you caught the newest training clip from Caitlin Clark, released by the Indiana Fever? It's absolutely exploded online, amassing nearly 2 million views within just 24 hours. But here's the kicker. Almost immediately, Angel Reese's PR team dropped her own training video. Predictably and humorously, Reese's version fell flat, turning what could have been a great showcase into a total misstep. While Clark's video shines brilliantly, Reese's attempt? Let's just say it's more like fool's gold. Prepare yourself for an engaging and entertaining analysis of these two viral videos. We'll dive into the numbers, explore fan responses, and highlight some over-the-top, misguided efforts by Reese to outshine Clark. Think jealousy isn't a factor? Trust me, this is something you'll want to see. Isn't it amazing how every time Caitlin Clark does literally anything, the internet goes into a frenzy? Her most recent workout video has everyone talking, and for good reason. Let's dive into this clip that ignited social media, racking up 2 million views in just 24 hours. It's truly gone viral. But what makes this video so noteworthy? It's not merely Clark displaying her skills. It serves as a comprehensive guide to self-improvement.
If you guys saw this workout has gotten a lot of people excited for Caitlin Clark because she is like directly working on her weaknesses, which I think is a good look. Honestly, I think that's a really, really good look for her because, again, when we're seeing somebody working on their weaknesses and not the glamorous weaknesses.
The video highlights 3 primary areas that Clark is concentrating on. First up is ball handling in confined spaces. While Clark is already exceptional with the basketball, she led the league in turnovers last season. This was mainly because opponents weren't accustomed to her extraordinary passes, though her turnover rate improved after the Olympic break. Additionally, she often faces double and triple teams, creating intense ball pressure. By enhancing her ability to maintain control under such pressure, she's directly tackling this challenge. Next, we watch Clark perfecting her mid-range game, and this is a major development. While everyone recognizes her signature three-pointers and her prowess at finishing at the rim, she impressively shot 62% from under 5 feet last season. Her mid-range shot has been the missing link in her offensive toolkit. Opponents are forcing her to take these shots by incorporating moves like the assist float and the pull-up jumper. By strengthening her mid-range skills, Clark is making herself even more difficult to defend. Lastly, the video highlights Clark's dedication to finishing through contact. She's fearless when driving to the basket, but playing in the WNBA means facing intense physicality, whether it's on purpose or not. By replicating game-like situations and building her strength, Clark is gearing up for the hard hits she'll take night after night. Just look at those arms.
She's back in her natural habitat, back in the lab, playing basketball, and it's got to be a scary sight for the rest of the WNBA if she gets even better, because it's not as if she wasn't absolutely phenomenally elite as a rookie and arguably the best player in the league after the Olympic break.
Clark isn't just putting in the workouts, she's directly tackling her weaknesses. This isn't merely about keeping her current performance, it's about taking her game to the next level, and that should send shivers down her opponent's spines. So, what does this mean for the upcoming season? Imagine a Caitlin Clark who can handle double teams even more effectively, possesses a solid mid-range game to complement her three-point shooting, and consistently finishes strong through contact. Combine that with her limitless shooting range and exceptional court vision that leads to precise quarterback-like passes. It's like granting Superman immunity to kryptonite, along with his flying, heat vision, super speed, and super strength.
So you're starting from a very high place, but as Michael Jordan once famously said, right, the ceiling is the roof. And there really is no ceiling on Caitlin Clark's game because of her vision. I think that the thing that stands out the most to me is her court vision. And when you're able to shoot from deep, the way she's able to shoot from deep.
Clark is already at the elite level. She shattered the season assists record and, as a rookie, led the league in three-pointers in a single game. She's also among the top scorers in the league. But she's not stopping there. Clark is aiming to become unstoppable. This isn't just off-season training, it's a bold statement of intent. Get ready, because an MVP season is on the way. Clark isn't merely looking to improve, she's determined to dominate the court.
There is really nothing you can do as a defense but hope the ball doesn't go in the basket. That's the level of greatness that Caitlin Clark can get to, where the defense's only hope is that she misses.
But there's more to the story. While Clark is hard at work, someone else felt the need to jump on the bandwagon. Trust me, it doesn't quite match her level of commitment. Imagine this. You're Angel Reese's publicist, and you've just witnessed Caitlin Clark's video go viral. What's your next move? The answer might surprise you and has certainly stirred up the WNBA world. Guess what happened next? Angel Reese's PR team went into full panic mode, rushing to release their own workout video. And let me tell you, it looks like a poor reaction that screams desperation, not dedication.
The lack of, proof that she's been in the gym working on her craft, trying to hone her skills after what can only be described as one of the worst shooting seasons anybody's ever seen in the history of basketball.
Let's dive into Reese's video for a moment. Reese is out there showcasing her ball handling skills and sinking shots. It sounds impressive, right? But there's something just not quite right. It's like watching a cover band attempt to replicate a hit song. The notes are hit, but the passion is missing. Now, let's break down the numbers. Clark's video garnered an impressive 2 million views in just 24 hours, while Reese's is trailing with only 200,000 views in 12 hours. At this pace, Reese would struggle to reach even 500,000 in a full day. That's barely a quarter of Clark's impact. Ouch, that's gotta hurt. But here's what's really getting people talking. Where are the Chicago Sky in all of this? You'd expect Reese's own team to take the spotlight, showcasing their star players' off-season dedication. Instead, we're hearing nothing from the Sky and only seeing a hastily put-together video from Reese's PR team, and let's be honest, nobody's impressed. So, what's the real story behind Reese's training? Let's be honest for a moment, this is the same Angel Reese who struggled with a meager 44.5% from less than 5 feet and only 39.1% shooting overall from the field. Those are some of the lowest percentages in WNBA history for someone taking that many close-range shots. You'd expect her workout video to concentrate on actually improving those shots.
When she was literally the most inefficient player within 5 foot in all of the WNBA. Any which way you put it, she shot bad from the field. All right, she's 6'3" and she plays under the basket, and she shot 39.1% from the field.
When she was clearly the least efficient player within 5 feet across the entire WNBA, no matter how you look at it, her shooting from the field was poor. Standing at 6'3" and playing under the basket, she managed only 39.1% from the floor. Instead of focusing on improvement, we're given a highlight reel that prioritizes appearances over addressing genuine flaws. It's all flash with no real substance. This isn't about getting better, it's about maintaining a facade. It seems Reese is more concerned with her Instagram presence than her actual performance stats. But there's more. While Clark is busy transforming her game, Reese has been making headlines on the red carpet, sharing hot takes on podcasts, and complaining about her salary. There's nothing wrong with building your brand, but when your on-court performance is struggling for attention, maybe it's time to rethink your priorities.
No, my rent is more than that. It's $8,000. I'm living beyond my means.
So what do you think about this? Does Angel Reese have a future career in the WNBA, or is she going to end up being another Instagram influencer who couldn't keep up with Caitlin Clark? Did you hear the latest uproar in the WNBA? Diana Taurasi, one of the league's all-time greats, is openly furious about being compared to rookie sensation Caitlin Clark. Taurasi believes that as a seasoned veteran, she deserves more respect and recognition, pushing back against claims that Clark is outperforming her. Taurasi, who has consistently been a cornerstone of the Phoenix Mercury, feels that the comparisons are undermining her legacy. "I've dedicated my life to this game," Taurasi stated in a recent interview. "Being compared to a rookie who's just starting her journey isn't fair. I deserve better recognition for my years of hard work and achievements." But let's talk numbers. Caitlin Clark has been nothing short of phenomenal this past season. She's averaged 22 points per game, leading the league in assists with 9.5 per game, and boasts a three-point shooting percentage of 40%. In contrast, Taurasi averaged 18 points, 5 assists, and shooting 35% from beyond the arc. Clark also holds the record for the most assists in a single season, showcasing her playmaking prowess that has transformed the Indiana Fever into one of the top teams in the league. Clark's impact goes beyond just the stats. She's revitalized the Fever, turning a struggling team into playoff contenders with her leadership and dynamic play. While Taurasi has been a consistent performer, Clark's explosive performances have captured the spotlight, leading many to argue that she's the more valuable player this season. Taurasi's frustration is understandable. After over 2 decades in the league, she's amassed 5 WNBA championships, 2 MVP awards, and countless accolades. Yet, in the eyes of some fans and analysts, a rookie is already outshining her. This has sparked a heated debate about the criteria for valuing veteran players versus rising stars. Critics of the comparisons point out that Clark's all-around game and statistical dominance make her a strong MVP contender. However, supporters of Taurasi argue that experience, leadership, and clutch performances in high-stakes games are just as important, if not more so, than raw statistics. The controversy reached its peak when Taurasi confronted the narrative head-on. "Comparing me to Caitlin is like comparing apples to oranges," she said. "Experience and consistency matter. Caitlin is incredible, but she's still learning. I've been here, building this league, and I expect to be treated with the respect that comes with that." Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark continues to excel, proving that her rookie season is one for the history books. Her ability to score, distribute, and make game-winning plays has earned her a legion of fans and a prominent spot in MVP discussions. As the season progresses, the rivalry between Taurasi and Clark highlights the evolving dynamics of the WNBA, where veterans and rookies alike are pushing each other to new heights. The debate isn't just about who has better stats, it's about what makes a player truly valuable. Is it the ability to dominate the scoreboard, the knack for making teammates better, or the experience to lead a team through tough times? Taurasi and Clark represent different facets of greatness, and their comparison raises important questions about how we honor and recognize talent in the league. As the WNBA season heats up, all eyes are on Diana Taurasi and Caitlin Clark. Taurasi's call for better treatment of veterans and Clark's undeniable rise are shaping the conversation around player value and legacy. Whether you side with Taurasi's experience or Clark's impressive stats, one thing is clear: the future of the WNBA is bright, with both legends and rising stars driving the game forward. What do you think? Should veteran experience weigh more heavily in MVP considerations? Or should outstanding rookie performances like Caitlin Clark's take center stage?
It's that time. Harvest.
You
It's
guys,
harvest
everyone
time.
wants me to cry today. No way.
Have you ever witnessed a basketball star tear up over someone else's triumph? Well, A'ja Wilson just did. The WNBA champion was seen in tears, but not for the reasons you'd expect. It's all in response to Caitlin Clark's emotional jersey retirement announcement.
I was like in tears, y'all.
You might be asking, what's all the fuss about? Don't players have their jerseys retired all the time? Well, not like this. Caitlin Clark's retirement ceremony is already setting records before it's even happened. Meanwhile, A'ja Wilson's fans are crying foul, suggesting Iowa orchestrated this to steal the spotlight. But what spotlight? Iowa likely didn't even know when South Carolina planned Wilson's ceremony, especially since she graduated nearly a decade ago. We've got the facts, the timeline, and fan reactions that tell a different story. Let's break down why Wilson's tears are flowing and how Clark is once again changing the game for women's basketball. February 2nd, 2025. Don't forget that date, because it's about to become legendary in women's basketball. 2 players, 2 jersey retirements, but only one is stealing the spotlight like a supernova. Caitlin Clark and A'ja Wilson, both revolutionizing women's basketball in their own ways, are set to have their jerseys retired on the same day. But that's where the comparison ends. Clark's ceremony at Iowa is generating a buzz that's completely overshadowing Wilson's South Carolina event.
Iowa taking on USC and Juju Watkins. Nationally televised game, I believe. February 2nd, 2-2, so it's 22. Everything about it lines up.
Let's talk numbers because they're crazy. The cheapest ticket to see Clark's jersey rise to the rafters is over $700, which is the most expensive ticket in women's basketball history. For some perspective, this price tag is even steeper than the cheapest ticket to an NBA Finals game. And if you're aiming for the best seats in the house, you'd better have a thick wallet, with tickets going for over $8,000. Meanwhile, you can catch a seat at Wilson's ceremony for just $25. No, that's not a typo. We're talking about a price difference more than 28 times higher for Clark's event.
But that is a supply and demand thing, especially in today's day and age where there's no such thing as a sellout, right? Where you can go to any event you want as long as you're willing to pay for it because of the secondary ticket market.
Social media is blowing up with reactions. This isn't just about ticket prices. It's a game-changing moment for women's basketball. The demand we're seeing now was unimaginable just a few years ago. Clark's final home game shattered records with tickets reaching $450. But now that feels like pocket change compared to her retirement ceremony. What's unfolding here is Clark reshaping the entire landscape of women's basketball. She's not just rewriting the record books on the court, she's breaking barriers off it. Clark has become a cultural icon, drawing in fans who might have never tuned into a women's basketball game before.
I'm leading scorer in women's college basketball.
But wait, there's more. This story is far from over. What does Wilson and her team have to say about this, you may ask?
One of the sentiments that was expressed was, oh, it's the same day as A'ja Wilson's. How could you do it? First of all, I remember them announcing A'ja Wilson was getting her jersey retired, but I didn't remember the date or anything. When the Clark news broke, I didn't think about A'ja Wilson. And again, as is the case with Caitlin Clark, this only is going to bring more attention to A'ja Wilson's jersey retirement.
As ticket prices for Clark's ceremony soared, another kind of inflation was taking over: online outrage. A'ja Wilson's fans aren't just upset, they're convinced a conspiracy is at play. But what if the real story is even more explosive than they think? The social media storm ignited with Wilson's supporters crying foul over the timing of Clark's jersey retirement. One fan didn't hold back, tweeting, "Why would y'all retire her jersey on the same day as A'ja Wilson? Are y'all stupid?" This sentiment echoed across social media, with Wilson's fan base feeling like their star was being overshadowed by the Clark phenomenon. But here's where it gets interesting. The timeline of these announcements tells a different story. Iowa didn't just pull Clark's jersey retirement out of thin air. They revealed their plans back on April 11th, 2024, right after the NCAA championship game.
And yes, Clark did get a standing ovation when Iowa's athletics director announced that the university will retire her number 22
jersey. That number holds a lot of weight, far beyond my name, and I guess I'm just really grateful, and it'll be a special day when that happens for sure. Thank you. It's been very special, and this place will always be home to me.
South Carolina didn't unveil their plans for Wilson's jersey retirement until October 2024, 6 months later, folks. Wilson's fans are saying they're not Clark fans, so why should they care about Iowa stealing the spotlight with their announcement? Why can't both players be honored on the same day?
First of all, there's nothing wrong with two schools retiring respective jerseys on the same day. But secondly, if you wanted the focus to be on A'ja Wilson, she'll probably get more attention as the second, most recognized jersey retirement of that day than she would have if she had the stage all to herself on that day.
So why are Wilson's fans so certain that Iowa is trying to steal South Carolina's thunder? It all boils down to the meteoric rise of Clark's popularity. Iowa's athletic director, Beth Gutz, put it bluntly, Clark's accomplishments have made a lasting impact on the university and on women's basketball. They weren't responding to Wilson's announcement. They were celebrating their own superstar. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Why did it take South Carolina so long to honor Wilson? One fan pointed out the obvious. Why did it take a decade for South Carolina to retire A'ja's number? How is that Iowa's problem? It's a fair question. Wilson graduated in 2018, yet it's taken until 2025 for her alma mater to retire her jersey. That's not on Iowa, that's on South Carolina.
And South Carolina waited years and years to retire A'ja's jersey.
The conspiracy theories are running wild, with some of Wilson's supporters convinced that Iowa deliberately picked this date to overshadow A'ja's moment. But let's think this through. Iowa chose a date that aligns with a high-profile game against USC, featuring rising star Juju Watkins, which was already set to be nationally televised. Plus, Clark's jersey has been hanging in Carver Hawkeye Arena for months. Everyone knew it was coming. How could Iowa possibly know when A'ja's retirement ceremony was planned? No one even knew about it until Clark made her announcement. This isn't about stealing anyone's spotlight. It's about maximizing exposure for women's basketball as a whole.
And then there was, Iowa is rushing this. They're rushing, or everything is rushed with Caitlin Clark. No, she just did things faster and garnered more attention and more notoriety and celebrity and celebration and popularity.
Here's what's hilarious. Some fans are actually asking for Wilson to move her date. One tweet put it bluntly, "Tell A'ja to move her date." Then the face of the WNBA is retiring hers. Show some respect. It's a stark reminder of how quickly the landscape of women's basketball is evolving. So what's really happening here? Is this about disrespect? Or is it simply a changing of the guard in women's basketball? The facts don't back up the conspiracy theories. Iowa's plans were in place long before Wilson's announcement, and they're just capitalizing on Clark's massive popularity. But here's the twist. There might be more to A'ja's reaction than just the jersey retirement itself. Is this truly about the ceremony, or could it be a deeper feeling of jealousy? Here's a story you might not hear much about, but it says a lot about the state of the WNBA and the dynamics within its teams. Just recently, Temi Fagbenle, a talented forward and seasoned international player, was released by the Indiana Fever. On paper, it might look like just another roster change, but the reasons behind her departure and the treatment she endured paint a much more complicated picture. Temi always had a strong bond with Caitlin Clark during her time with the team, but rumors have long swirled about NaLyssa Smith's alleged mistreatment of both players. Could this be the real reason behind Temi's departure? To understand the full story, we need to dig deeper into how it all unfolded. Let's start with her history. Temi Fagbenle isn't just any player. Born in Baltimore, raised in the UK, and a Harvard graduate, she's had a storied career both on and off the court. Internationally, she's represented Great Britain with distinction, even leading her national team to historic finishes in European competition. In the WNBA, she's been a reliable presence, known for her versatility, defense, and ability to contribute in key moments. She's played for the Minnesota Lynx in the past, where she won a championship in 2017 and brought that same winning mentality to the Fever. So why was she released? Officially, the team cited roster constraints and the need to focus on rebuilding around younger talent. The Fever have been in a long, frustrating rebuild phase, and Fagbenle's veteran status likely made her a target. But there's more to it. According to reports, her relationship with the team had been strained for months, partly because of tensions with younger star NaLyssa Smith. Now, NaLyssa Smith is one of the Fever's rising stars. Drafted second overall in 2022, she has quickly become a key player for the franchise. But according to insiders, Smith didn't exactly make Fagbenle's time on the team easy. Sources close to the team have alleged instances where Smith undermined Fagbenle during practices, criticized her play openly, and even made dismissive comments about her veteran leadership. While Smith's star power has certainly helped the Fever on the court, it's clear her influence off the court may have contributed to Fagbenle's release. Fagbenle, for her part, has remained professional throughout the situation. In her limited statements, she's expressed gratitude for her time with the Fever and her teammates, but those who followed her career know that she's never been one to cause drama or create division. The fact that she found herself pushed out of the team says more about the Fever's internal dynamics than it does about her abilities or attitude. The bigger question here is whether the Fever made the right call. By letting go of a veteran like Fagbenle, they're doubling down on their youth movement. But at what cost? Veteran players like her bring leadership, stability, and experience, qualities that are often undervalued in a league like the WNBA, which already struggles with retaining its stars and fostering strong team cultures. As for Fagbenle's future, it's uncertain. She has plenty of options overseas, where she's already proven herself as a top player in Europe, and there's no doubt she'll continue to thrive. But her exit from the Fever is a stark reminder of the challenges faced by veteran players in the WNBA, especially when team dynamics and internal politics come into play. In the end, the release of Temi Fagbenle isn't just about roster changes. It's a story about a league still figuring out how to balance youth and experience, talent and leadership. And for Fagbenle, it's a chapter that closes with more questions than answers.